Okay, good morning. Welcome to
Another 1179.
FamilyMath1179. Sorry about picking the camera as I sat down. Today we're going to talk about trig, just kind of an intro to trig functions. So we're going to talk about cosine x and sine x. And it looks like I got the wrong lights, so we're going to have some shadows. Actually, can you turn that one off? Yeah, so tell me, before we dive into this, I'm not even sure that you've seen these as functions before. What do you know about cosine and sine? I know you've talked a little bit about trig this year.
Basically, if you have a right triangle like this, and then an angle here, the cosine of this angle would be the ratio of the adjacent to the hypotenuse.
Okay.
And the sine would be the ratio of the opposite to the hypotenuse.
Okay, great. Actually, that's those are exactly how the definitions of sine and cosine are given. And typically, when we have a right triangle like this, and we're looking at, what do you usually call the angle when you're talking?
Theta.
Theta?
Yeah.
Usually, we think about a triangle whose hypotenuse has length 1. And so what would the length of this side be?
That would be cosine of theta.
Cosine of theta. And this height?
Sine theta.
Sine theta. And that leads actually to a pretty interesting equation, a relationship between sine and cosine. Do you know what that is?
Cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1.
Yeah. Have you seen that before?
Well, no, but it just comes from the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, and that's a really important equation in trigonometry when you're studying cosine and sine theta, not just as ratios in a specific triangle, but actually as functions, and you're trying to study how they change with theta. It turns out that this is sort of a fundamental equation in trigonometry.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. It just comes from the Pythagorean theorem. And the definition of sine and cosine. Okay, so let's move on and talk about one way to start thinking about how this generalizes. Okay?
Yeah.